to the Infinity Season 10 series of the MRC. You join us tonight at the Red Bull Ring, as you can see there, and I shall go through the grid. And in first place, after 10 minutes of qualifying, we have Wiz in the Genesis. In second, we have Infinity James, so Genesis locking out the front row. In third, we have Scott in the Toyota. In fourth, we have Phil in the McLaren. In fifth, we have Golden Brownie in the Lexus. In sixth place, we have Wacky in the Porsche. In seventh, we have Ice in the Nissan. In eighth place, we have Pirate Jim in the Mercedes. In ninth place, we have Staffy in the Toyota. In 10th, we have Infinity Graphics in a Porsche. In 11th, we have Brucey in the Lexus. In 12th place, we have Surfer Ev in the Nissan. In 13th, we have T50 Gary in the McLaren. And in 14th place, we have Mark, or Mutt as everyone knows him by. Right, so we have a 20-minute race, and then we have a 40-minute race. So let's get these guys underway. 5 lights, and we are go at Red Bull Ring. Bit of a jumpy start there, probably Gran Turismo doing Gran Turismo things, and Genesis is looking. Oh, is that Scott? That is Scott. Let's have a little quick look at the turn 1 incident for Scott. Jump on board. So Phil on his inside. Lucky Racer gives a little touch there. Not much that Golden Brownie could do there to get out of the way, but no damage for Scott at all, so gets away unscathed, just losing speed now, and now in a sandwich with these 3 going up. Tight squeeze. Ice there getting a penalty. Golden Brownie there probably getting a better drive than Scott, being in that sandwich going up to turn 2. See how these two unfold in turn 3. Golden Brownie giving Scott plenty of room. Looks like to have done the move past Scott. Yep. And we'll jump up to the 2 Nissan boys side by side. Ice is going to serve that penalty and probably drop a couple of positions. See, he's dropped down 2 positions. Scott got past him. Scott does just around the outside. You don't want to run it right out there. You do get a half-second penalty, or even a second penalty on the exit of that corner. Brucey getting sideways did pick up a penalty for running wide. We'll jump up to the front, and the 2 Genesis boys setting off for an early lead here over Phil. I think the Genesis got the better power coming out of the corners to gain them that lead. Everyone's picking up half-second penalties at the moment, it looks like. Lucky Racer there in 4th. Pirate Jim in 5th. Infinity Graphics up to 6th. He's done pretty well from the start. I think Infinity was 10th on the grid, or around there. Surfer in 7th. Golden Brownie's made his way back up to 8th so far. Mark in 9th. Staffy 10th. Gary 11th. Under pressure from Ice. Let's see if Ice will be able to make it stick to the inside. Looks like he can. Gary's trying to keep it around the outside. Good racing there, keeping it nice and clean. And Gary does fend off ice through the last couple of corners. Scott and Brucey have dropped back. I wonder if I can quickly jump back to see Scott sideways. Let's have a little look what happened there. Scott's been in the wars for the first couple of laps so far, trying to go up the inside of Mark. Brucey comes in, Scott's in another sandwich and gets a slight tap, it looks like. No one who's... So does Brucey wait up after causing that? It looks like he is. So that's unlucky for Brucey, but going by the MRC rules of waiting up for the other driver and then letting them pass to then go again. Going away to see if these boys can catch up to the front of the pack. Jump back, Wiz is just serving his penalty, but James goes up down the inside. So two Genesis boys swapping positions there. Obviously still making it a 1-2 for Genesis, so pulled out about another second and a half, I would say, over Phil. Who's got Wacky and Jim not far behind him, so keeping him on his toes. If he gets another penalty, he probably will be in the clutches of getting overtaken from at least one of them too. I think the graphics up to 6th. There's a half-second penalty, so Surfer, if he can close up a little bit on him, may be able to get past, getting to the penalty zone. And Golden Brownie's always picked up a 1-second penalty. It's really going to drop him off the back of Surfer and potentially into the clutches of Mark behind. Since everyone's seems to have settled into a bit more of a rhythm now and not fighting for too many positions. Ooh, Mark goes wide there and catches the old kitty litter and drops himself 3 positions by doing so. So that's put Staffy, Gary and Ice up a position. Didn't even have to work for it, so that does give Golden Brownie a bit more of a breather from the guys behind, but there does Surfer go for the move on in graphics. He does. The old graphics try for the old switcheroo. Don't think he tried it, he looked for it, but didn't make it stick, and he's got his wipers on. I don't believe there is rain for this race, but the weather person has predicted a little bit of a sprinkle for the beginning of the feature race. Well, graphics has picked up another half-second penalty. That's just going to drop him back a little bit further from the back end of Surfer, unless he can do anything about it before the penalty line. These three are still managed to tell. Obviously the two Genesis boys pulling away. It looks like, what are they doing? 36 threes. I don't know, I feel it's going a little bit quicker actually. I lied. It's a fairly short lap here, so it's quite hard to gain loads of time. It's easy to lose it, obviously, with the penalty system being quite harsh on some corners here. But Phil's gone purple, only just gone purple, but it shows he's pushing to try and catch up to the back of the two at front. Let's just quickly top through the field. So yeah, and graphics hasn't been able to overtake Surfer, so he's staying in 7th for the moment. Obviously it does give Golden Brownie a bit more of a chance after serving his 1-second penalty lap ago, and it looks like he might have picked up another half second by just going wide. He just did. That's going to potentially drop him into the clutches of Staffy behind. He's got Gary not far behind him as well, so gone a little bit deep there with Staffy and turn 1. It's going to give Gary a bit more of a drive coming up. As I say, these penalties here are vicious. He obviously got it slightly a bit deep, ran it a little bit wide, so he lost time anyway, and then the game goes and gives him a half-second penalty. So that means that Ice Chad potentially could get Staffy when they come to the penalty zone. But Mark has dropped back. Looks like that 3 was not. Oh yeah, it's only going off. That's coming into turn 3, this corner here. I'm just not been able to keep up with the guys in front. Got Scott and Brucey there. They're doing 37s. Yeah, they're doing about the same time, so they're just waiting for anyone to make a mistake and capitalise on catching up to them. But Ice here should be able to get past Staffy. Moves off the racing line to not impede any other driver. So that's put Ice Chad up to 10th position. We will jump up to the front. Two Genesis boys are locked together, there's nothing between them. They really are pushing each other for the race, but yeah, Wiz has gone fastest lap last lap, so he's using that slipstream to great effect. But they have dropped Phil by 1 second just that lap. But Phil has dropped Wacky and Jim's. Jim's have got past Wacky, so that's probably why there has been a gap increase between 3rd and 4th. But Wacky and Surf have both got penalties there, so it's going to give Graphics and Golden Brownie a chance to catch up to the back of them. He's got his window wipers going. Still, obviously, hasn't noticed. We'll see how penalties go for. Obviously, Surfer's not going to catch up, overtaking Wacky. They're both 7.5 seconds, and will. Graphics just catches up the gap. He doesn't close up to him, so everything stays the same between these 4 races at the moment. Ice there just ahead of Gary. Gary might. I know that GTR is very quick in a straight line, so we'll see how Gary can do it. I don't know that Gary can do anything coming up to turn 2. No, he can't. Staffy there on 11th. Mark's still not been able to catch up to the back of Staffy. I don't think that Mercedes is the greatest around this track for sure. Brucey's got hold of Scott. Scott must have had an incident on the last lap with 144, so about 7-8 seconds slower that lap than normal running time. So Scott's clearly not having a good time at the moment. Finley James has pulled out a 10th or 2 over Wiz. Looks like that lap. Yeah, the last couple of laps he's pulled out about 3 tenths, but so not much, but enough just to give a bit more breathing room over his teammate. closing through up to turn 2. Phil there is a bit of a man in the middle, a couple of seconds ahead and looks like a couple of seconds behind. It'll be a good result for him if he can stay there till the end of the race. And we've got a gaggle of cars of Jim, Wacky, Surfer, Graphics and Golden Brownie. All 5 cars within about 3 or 4 seconds of each other, so any little mistake from any of one of them and positions will be gained. Nice Chad there, it's just off the back by a second or 2. Oh, he was that going into Kitty there. Staffy's slowly getting back on track, not to impede anyone when rejoining. He has picked up a half second penalty. I don't know if that was from going off there or before on a previous corner. Brucey there in 13th, unlucky for some. I'm sure Brucey doesn't mind. He's been here a while doing the Infinities. I think he has been here since the very first season. Scott there, he's a decent lap that lap of 36.8, so he's got back onto the pace after obviously his little incident he had on lap 6. Wiz is caught up to the back of James again, so these two are really not letting each other give any breathing room between them. I don't think there's been more than a second, I think, for the whole race so far. So we'll see how the feature race goes, following each other's line. Wiz doesn't make a move, he's just going to sit there behind him. The last person you want to be taken out is your teammate. Then you bring on both your races, and your team's going to then suffer on scoring points. In 3rd still. These boys have just spread out a little bit. Strider's just caught up to the back of Golden Brownie there. The last, he's 37.2 to a 36, so yeah, he caught 1.2 seconds in the last lap, so definitely on the charge. See if he can make any grounds when he catches up to Golden Brownie. So they have all spread out slightly here, so what I will do is jump on board with, let's go with Brucey and do a quick lap round the Red Bull ring. So up to turn 1 and really cut the corner. Coming in, Brucey doesn't. I forgot this is a 15-minute laps. I will do the lap guide and the next race. Scott has finished in 14th, didn't make it across the line in time. Wiz has got a half-second penalty there. These two, obviously Wiz got past him, probably coming out of turn 3. And let's just stick with these two to the line, because they are battling pretty fiercely to who's going to get the first position. James has picked up a half-second penalty but won't serve it before the finish line. So will Wiz be a team player and go, you've got the lead, coming across the line, I'll give you that time. Gap between it doesn't look like he will, but James finishes first, but I think he will because of the half-second penalty. He finishes in second, so Wiz claims first, James second, Phil third, Pirate Jim fourth, Wacky fifth, Surfer 6th, Infinity Graphics 7th, Golden Brownie 8th, Ice in 9th, Gary comes along in 10th, Mark comes across the line in 11th, Staffy in 12th, and Brucey comes along the line in 13th. Nice quick short sprint there. Right, I'm going to quickly load up the next one and have a drinks break. Right, so let me just pause that, get all the info I need up. Obviously I won't go through the grid because obviously the feature race is the start of the race results from the sprint race. So I've just quickly gone through the grid. So what I'll do is I'll get us guys underway. Obviously this race is a 40-minute race, and you have to use 2 sets of tyres. So you can use racing softs, mediums, softs and hards, however your car chews through the tyres, and obviously the quickest way to the finish line. So let's start from the front of 2 again, and get these guys underway for the feature race. And away we go. Let's see if we can have a clean start, a cleaner start than race 1. Looks like Wacky's looking at the side of Pirate Jim, but a bit of bunching up there, but no one's gone sideways it looks. And Scott's keeping it in a straight line, so Scott will be happy. So let's jump up to the front. Wiz is absolutely bolted from the blocks. Looks like we're going 2, 3 wide coming into turn 2. Surfer in 3rd, Phil 4th, Jim 5th, Graphics in 6th, Golden Brownie in 7th. We've got the undercut on Graphics, so we'll move up a position for Golden Brownie. Who's that? That's Jim. Is he looking at Phil? I think it was just a distraction on Phil. He's still going 2 and 3 wide into turn 3, but Brucey's under the inside of Wacky, so Wacky's dropped back a few places from the start. Brucey's gained a couple. Scott's picked up a half-second penalty, so Staffy will probably get past him when they come to the penalty line. But Wiz is trying to check out, but he started on the racing mediums and James is on the softs. So James will probably cruise up to the back of Wiz over the next couple of laps and see if there's any team orders between them two. But Surf is up to 3rd position, so Phil's dropped down from the start of the race, but Jim and Golden Brownie going side by side into turn 1. Golden Brownie's power's got past Pirate Jim there. It's squiggly coming out in turn 1 for Golden Brownie, but now on the charge up to the back of Phil, it looks like. And Phil's picked up a half-second penalty for turn 1, so if Golden Brownie just sits there, he'll get past him through the penalty zone. Gary, Graphics and Mark nose to tail. I'm going to watch up ahead and these 3, see if there's any moves happening. Graphics goes to the outside, probably not the best idea, but he may prove me wrong. He does. Around the outside of Gary. It's a great move there from Graphics. And Mark's looking to capitalise on Gary as well. Looks like he's slipped up the inside of turn 4. Let's bunch these guys back into Ice and Brucey. So they're going to be loving that they're having a little scrap to close the gap up. Yeah, seeing that you can just see, Brucey can see, 8th, 7th position just in front of him. A couple of seconds, so but as Golden Brownie did get past Phil, who saved the penalty, defending from Pirate Jim. Pirate Jim dives to the inside. Was he going to make the move? Now he tucks back in behind. So Golden Brownie's on the charge. Started from 8th, now into 4th. He's got Surfer up ahead, who's got a half-second penalty as well. But the two Genesis boys haven't checked out massively, but they have swapped positions from on the last lap. 37.6 and a 36 dead from James, so the first lap is always a slower lap due to the start of the race, so we'll see if that lap time comes down any more during the rest of the race. Weasel will then catch up to the back of James after he serves that penalty. Golden Brownie and Jim capitalise on Surfer serving his half-second. We'll stay with them for the second to see if anything comes of it. All around the same amount of gaps between everyone at the moment as they all came through turn 4. Surfer pulls over. Will Golden Brownie get past? Does, but he is on the outside. Runs it a little bit deep. So the Surfer's not been able to do anything into the last corner. It does get a better drive. So these two are going side by side into turn 1. He's going to be late on the brakes. They both braked about the same time, but Surfer had to take a tighter line, so he was a little bit slower. So Golden Brownie's up into 3rd. Jim is now having a look on Surfer. Let's jump on board, see if Jim is going to make a late move. No, he tucks in behind. Oh no, he darts back out. He sits there in 5th position, does Jim. It shows you how much slower that tighter line is. Surfer's pulled out a good 3/4 of a second just in the exit of that corner alone. It has put him under a little bit of pressure from graphics. In 6th position, and Ice there in 7th. Got it back down the field. Brucey, oh no, it was Gary, sorry, it had a half-second penalty, so Brucey will probably just sit behind and let him serve that. And nice free position there, and Wacky Race is not far behind either. He might take the advantage as well. How close these three are together. Doesn't move off the racing line, but he does drop down 2 positions. So Wacky was able to capitalise on Gary's penalty there. Stuffy did pick up our second penalty for that last corner there, and Phil, who started 3rd, really not had the greatest of starts to this race. Must have been happened on this lap, so I'll quickly jump back to see where it was. Lap 1, turn 1, quickly jump on board. Just got the car unsettled and just spun around. Is he going to get in the way of anyone? No, he's just going to keep it nice and tight on the grass. So that's dropped Phil right to the back of the pack, so not the greatest of starts to the race for Phil in this one. Let's see if he can do anything about it. Still got just under 35 minutes to go, but Wiz has been able to catch back up to James. So the two Genesis boys, obviously this car must love the track, because they're not letting anyone else have the front 2 spots, not even for the sprint, and so far for the feature they've just been 1-2, and obviously still setting purple sectors, so really on a charge to try and break the field apart. Golden Brownie there in 3rd. Smith Surfer still hot on his heels. Jim, Graphics and Ice 5th, 6th and 7th. We're getting through the last couple of corners without running it wide. Mark's there just off a little bit from that pack. Scott, obviously, who started last, and worked his way up to 9th position, so doing well at the moment. And we've got the battle for 10th position between Brucey, Wacky, Gary and Staffy. So I'm sure the next time I pop back down to these boys they'll have swapped a position or two, and them being so close to each other. I don't think it's going to be when I pop back to them. I think it might even happen coming into turn 3. Wacky's gone for the defensive line. Will Gary be able to make it round the outside? No, he won't. Wacky kept it tight. Gary had no way of getting past on that side of that, so he will just stick behind Wacky for the moment. It has allowed Brucey just to put a half-second gap over these guys behind, battling away. And Scott looks to have caught up to the back of Mark a little bit more here than when we were last with him, but Scott's coming into the pit, so he's had his 5 laps on his medium tyres, decides to get rid of them and put the softs on. Well, I'm guessing he's going to go softs. Half an hour, it's a brave move, but see, his team think he can make it to the end of the race with 31.5 minutes to go. I don't think anyone else is. Oh, 3 wide coming into turn 2. Can we get through it cleanly? Looks like there's a little bit of argy-bargy, but nothing too bad about it. But I think Ice has capitalised massively there. They're still battling coming into turn 4. Ice keeps it in 5th position at the moment. That's the thing, you go away from him for half a lap to a lap and suddenly there's action happening somewhere else in the field. It looks like Ice has been able to hold off Jim for the infield part of the track. But that Mercedes is definitely struggling in a straight line, it seems. But Jim's getting rid of their mediums, he's had enough of them as well. Coming to the pit. So we'll see where they all come out when everyone else comes in for the pits. So obviously some guys have started on the softs. And nice and sideways drift coming out of the turn 1 for Ice there. But it means the Nissan boys are 4th and 5th at the moment, so a good result could be coming their way. They can stay like that. Golden Brony has been able to drop Surfer a little bit and looks like catch up to Wiz. So Wiz's medium tyres are now starting to struggle. He's not been able to keep it up with James, who has been running 35s the last 3 laps, where Wiz has been just in the 36s, so about a second a lap quicker at the moment, so he's probably about 3 seconds ahead so far. But Golden Brownie come to spoil the party of the Genesis boys, have been able to run 1-2 for the sprint and so far 11 minutes of the feature. Let's see if you can do anything about it. Oh yes, Jim pitted. I was going to say we're missing one here, but yeah, Jim came into the pit. Looks like Graphics potentially could get a half-second penalty there for the exit of the second to last one if he does. Brucey getting sideways, that's not going to help when you've got 2 guys trying to get in front of you. see how this unfolds into turn 1. So Wacky got the move on Mark, because Mark had nowhere to go with Brucey getting sideways right in front of him. Brucey picked up a half-second penalty, probably for turn 1. Didn't see him run too wide, but obviously that's what I mean, it's just a slight bit too wide on the exit. You can get it on the apex as well if you cut that too much as well. But Gary's there at the back, just licking his lips with V3 in front, looking to pick up some nice free positions if anything does happen. Seffi there in 11th, probably going to go as long as he can, like he did at Interlagos in round 1. But that was obviously the endurance race. It was 60 minutes rather than this being a 40-minute race. So Pirate Jim, look on the track map at the top right, is just ahead of Scott, but they have both pitted, so they're on their soft tyres till the end of the race. Full fuel for both of them. And Phil looks like he's pitted as well, because he's not gained anything on them two in front, and lap times of 57 and a 58, with Scott having a 54.56. I would say they're about the same. Brucey is into the pit, so he was ahead of Scott, and I believe behind Jim, so he should slot out in between the two of them. Obviously it does depend how much fuel he saved for the first 8 laps of the race. Fuel's going in now, so let's see where he comes out once he's topped up. But Jim and Scott have gone past. He's now as much fuel as he wanted. He's just going to come up behind Scott here. Where is Scott? Yeah, Scott's just up ahead, so he's lost out to Scott there in the pit cycle. So let's see if Scott's got, how much fuel has Scott got? He's already used a fair bit of it, but he has been up for about 3 laps so far since the pit stop. So it does mean that Wacky Racer has been able to unleash the horses of that Porsche. But Mark is keeping him honest and sitting right behind him, not letting him get away too easily. That Porsche is quite a handful over the curb, so I'm going to stay off him as best as possible. He has to set his fastest lap of 36.6. Graphics there in 6th position with a half second, so that's the two Porsche boys in 6th and 7th. Highest there, has he been able to catch up to his teammate? Slightly, he's caught up a couple of attempts over the last couple of laps. But Golden Brownie has definitely caught up to the back of Wiz. Going a little bit deep there. They haven't dropped too far behind James, so that tyre wear on that Lexus is looking rather grim. After just 15 minutes he's already down to halfway on his tyres, so he may get to about probably I'd say about 18 before he would have to pit. But obviously Wiz been on the mediums, is doing a pretty good job, to be fair, to be doing, getting into the 35s. So he's not letting James have all the fun of being in the 135s. But let's see how far. Well, he's about 5 seconds ahead at the moment, is James, but Golden Brownie's definitely right up behind Wiz. Ooh, gets a little bit sideways coming out of turn 1. He's staying with Wiz. Let's jump on board. That's the view I wanted. See if Golden Brown is going to be able to do anything into turn 2. You know, he closes right up to the back of him. It's a little bit wide. He's trying to get the power on a bit too early. Picks up a half-second penalty from doing so. So not what Golden Brownie wanted for trying to get past Wiz. Yeah, Lexus definitely a lot better on the brakes than the Genesis. I think the Genesis needs some really good brakes, or made a lot lighter to be able to stop that car quicker than the Lexus. But I don't think Golden Brownie is going to be able to do much coming up to the penalty zone. Jump track side again. Let's see. There's a little bit of a distance between. So it looks like has been able to catch up to the back of Surfer slowly. He's definitely a good couple of attempts quicker per lap. But he has used a bit more of his tyres than Surfer has. But in doing so, it looks like Graphics is slowly on the coattails of Ice and getting pulled along nicely. Mark's got ahead of Wacky Racer. These two have been pretty locked in for a fair few laps now and seem to be not giving anyone any room between each other. But I thought Wacky was trying to go up the inside of Mark there, but just got a little bit tail happy coming out of turn 1. But those two are really saving on their tyres. Hardly any tyre wear, and they're both on softs. And you look at the likes of, I'll jump to Infinity James there, look at that tyre wear. Really down to half. I'm sure Golden's probably even worse. Yeah, Golden's even further down on his tyre wear than the likes of Mark and Wacky. But Gary's been able to slowly close back up to the rear of these two. He dropped off a little bit over the last couple of laps, 38.1 there, so potentially serving a penalty on lap 10. Still running around in 10th, and he is on pit, so Pirate Jim is the first person to have pitted, running in 11th with Scott in 12th, Brucey in 13th and Phil in 14th, who isn't far from being lapped, but obviously the other guys have got to still pit, so see that gap will increase when they do. I'm just trying to look on track to see. Yeah, these two are still nose to tail. Wacky's got ahead of Mark now. So these two are, every time I jump to them, they're swapping their places. Side by side. That's the camera that I want. Mark got back ahead of Wacky coming out of turn 2. Will Wacky do anything about it? No, but Gary will. To show his nose a little bit. Decides better of leaving Wacky some racing room rather than nudging him off. Tyres are squealing on that Merc. Really not liking these corners. But Infinity James has come into the pit, and so has Wiz. They're both down on fuel, so that will promote Golden Brownie into first. Wacky's not been able to do anything about it through that part of the track. Gary there, you can see dart off into the pit. So we'll see how James and Wiz, and Ice is in the pit as well, come out with Pirate Jim, who has been on the softs for longer at the moment, see if he's gained any time over Wiz, because obviously Wiz was dropping back from James. James comes out, looks to be well ahead of Wiz. There's Jim. Jim's just coming into turn 1, so he's going to be. He's just come out of the pit as well. So Pirate Jim is in projected 4th at the moment. Obviously we still have Golden Brownie, Surfer, Infinity Graphics, Mark and Wacky still to pit. So we'll see where Pirate Jim is when everyone has made their pits. Once the cycle is over, because obviously with different people being on different strategies, it's hard to know until everyone has pitted where they will all come out. We see their Golden Brownies come into the pit to do an extra lap over James and Wiz. Surfer and Graphics are in the pit. I wonder if these two are going to be thinking about coming in. No, they carry on going. Mark looks like to have his indicator on there. It looks like, yeah, so maybe sending a false signal to Wacky. They're going, I'm coming in the pit, and Wacky thinking I'll follow suit and didn't. But these two are now battling for first and second, side by side through turn 1. It's probably not the best racing line to be doing. So James has got past Golden Brownie. Golden Brownie's just coming out of the pits now. And where is Wiz? Looks like Wiz is just getting past. So Golden's made a little bit of a caught up to the back of Wiz a little bit from the start of the pits. The last couple of laps. And Wiz having a half-second penalty might give Golden a bit of a chance to potentially get hold, but obviously he's got to warm his tyres up, and Wiz being on the softs, I don't think Golden's being able to do much about that. Surf has come out in 6th, which I do believe will be 4th once Mark and Wacky have pitted. Ice in 7th, so the two Nissan boys are still running around together. Pirate Jim there, obviously after his early pit stop, has come out into 8th position. Scott's there in 9th. So yeah, I think Scott was 9th when he pitted on lap, I think it was 5. He pitted, and Mark's come into the pit now, and so the indicator was a lap early for Mark. Graphics in 10th there. Obviously just come out of the pit. Got his lap time on lap 14. So Bruce in 11th. Let's see if we can catch up to the back of Graphics. Gary in 12th. Staffy 13th and Phil in 14th. Yeah, obviously you can see on the track map up there how much further he is ahead now, because of the pit stop cycle. He's not going to be lapped any time soon. So Mark comes out in 10th. He was battling with Brucey when it all happened, and we've just got Wacky Racer to pit out of these 4 that were all running around together, with obviously Gary behind them all. So we'll see when Wacky makes his pit if he's gained an advantage or if he's lost an advantage over these 3 guys. It seems like they have been able to catch up to the back of Graphics a little bit in the pit window. So these 3 are nose to tail. Let's see if there's any, because both the Nissan boys are on mediums. They've both got fairly similar fuel, just Ice is under half and Surf is on half a tank. I don't know if there's going to be any team orders here between the 2 of them. There always has been, although they run a little bit quicker on the softs than Surfer was. Obviously with Jim being right there, it's a lot harder to try and let your teammate past without losing more than 2 spots. And obviously Scott's not far behind to potentially, if they get a bad one off the corner, trying to have a little sniff of a position. Looks like Ice is going for the move up to turn 2. Will Surfer just lose the 1 position to his teammate? It looks like he will. Right, Jim can't get under the inside of him coming out of the corner. And you know the GTR is fairly quick in a straight line. You see he's opened up a couple of car lengths over Jim just through the straight line speed of the GTR. But Wacky Racer still running round in first, but looking at his fuel gauge, he will be coming in this lap. I don't think he'll be able to make another lap on that tank. So he has run 27.5 minutes on 70% fuel. But here comes James to claim his first position back after everyone now has pitted. I believe Wacky was the last one to pit. He hasn't come into the pit box yet, but Wiz goes through into second. You can see he's dropped Golden Brownie there. Just the difference of the tyre wear or tyre compound being on the softs to the mediums of Golden Brownie. Running 37 and 36s where Wiz is running on the 35s, so second to also difference between the two. And obviously we know the Genesis was a quick car from the sprint race earlier on. But these 4 now, with Scott joining the back of the pack, will Scott be able to make his way through these guys? Obviously with him putting in so early on in the race, Will was tired, be able to handle the extra pressure he's going to be putting on him to make it through the guys. Proves you there, he has been able to catch up to Graphics and get past, so he is now up to 8th. I think when I last left him he was in 11th, so I think with obviously everyone pitting and stuff, it's put him ahead of the rest of the pack that he was battling with. Now Wacky there has come out just behind Brucey, and that's where he was before pit cycle started, so running long hasn't gained him anything, but it does mean that he doesn't have to run on the mediums for as long as others. But Graphics there 7 a penalty, and Gary slipping on by. Mark's just dropped off the back of the guys, maybe running a little bit too long on the softs and not having the grip required for the decent lap times. He wanted to potentially jump the guys he was battling. Stuffy in 13th there with a little half second penalty. And Phil, I think Phil has been able to catch up, but obviously since that incident on, I think it's lap 4 on turn 1 here, he's just not been able to gain all that much, because a lot of this track is flat out. It's only really the 2 left-handers in the middle of the racetrack that you could potentially gain a lot of time over. That is Wiz catching James. Let's have a look at lap times. 36.2s the last 3 times for James, 35.6s and 35.5s for Wiz. So he's catching what, 0.6 of a second a lap at the moment. And when we cross the line, we'll see how far James is ahead of Wiz. He's about 3.5-4 seconds at the moment. He's definitely caught it up about since about 5 or 6 seconds when they made the pit stop at lap 13. So yeah, 5 laps he's caught about 3 seconds in total, but you can see there how far Wiz has pulled out over Golden Brownie. Just been able to set 37s at the moment, and Surfer has just been able to gap over Scott, who has made his way from the back of these 4 2 seconds in the pack. Gets a little bump there from Jim, unless Jim was a little bit late on the brakes or couldn't stop it coming into the apex, but it does mean that Ice has been able to get past Jim as well in turn 2. So there's a few little battles emerging up here on the track. And Brucey there just keeping ahead of Gary, Wacky and Graphics. I think Mark has just dropped off the back of these guys. He has. But as I tried to earlier, I will quickly do a lap of the Red Bull Ring with your race leader James. So as we come uphill to turn 1, you want to keep it as wide as you can entry, cut it as much as you can, just like that, and absolutely then boot it out. Obviously trying not to pick up a half-second penalty whilst doing so. And then you obviously boot it up the hill here, kind of all the way uphill from turn 1 to turn 2, get to about the 100-metre board and then slam your anchors on, dropping it all the way down to second. Kind of a late apex on that corner, and then at the top of the track we're kind of dropping all the way back downhill now to turn 3. So again, once again 100-metre board, chucking it back in, and then some long right hander kind of coming out of that corner, and then this is a horrible left-hander coming down the hill. You're going to get as wide as you can on the exit, brake at the end of the curbing, and then chuck this one in and floor it halfway around to then cut it to the right hand side for James just to be serving a penalty. Wiz is catching, that's definitely not 3 to 4 seconds now, and then into the second to last corner, get entry there on the right hand side and then chuck this one over the curb. And that is a lap of the Red Bull Ring. But let's have a look to see how far there is. 1 and a bit seconds between first and second now. So will Wiz be able to make his way back up to first again after snatching a win over James on the last one? Will team orders say that James is allowed to keep the position, or are they allowed to battle? We'll find out. I'm sure not too long. We've only got 5 minutes left of the race. Golden Brownie there, obviously been left from Wiz since the pit stops. Has just been able to stay there in third. Surfer there, just been able to pull away from the 3 guys that have been battling Ice there, going for a move up the inside of Scott in turn 2. Will we have the power to get past him coming into turn 3? I didn't think he was having a look, but I think that's more of a distraction to Scott. Potentially try and miss his brake marker, but he gets up cut back on the inside, but you are going to be left on the outside of turn 4. Nowhere to go because Scott's parked it on the apex. And coming out of the infield part of Red Bull up to the penultimate corner. Ice goes very deep into that one, but then pulls it back to the racing line. Don't know if he's defending from Jim, but Surfer made a bit of an error there. Picked up a half-second penalty. A bit of bump in there, but Scott's been able to get past Surfer. I think through Surfer's bad exit of the last corner. So Scott has made his way through these three, but will these three try and retaliate? Oh, that's not going to help Scott out with a half-second penalty, which he did pick up on the exit of turn 1. But you wouldn't believe after 36, well, nearly 37 minutes, this is all it covers. Oh, Surfer. That's not what you want to do. Let's go back and see what happened to Surfer. Jump on board. I don't think he's got any pressure from ice behind. Just cut his nose off it. Oh, he gets on the curb. Keeps the throttled in just to try and save it, but it's not going to work. Now the tyres are all red hot. But that has allowed Gary and Brucey to get past Surfer after that unfortunate mistake at turn 2. Brian, there we go. Graphics has just been able to drive up to the back of Surfer, and Surfer's going to be serving a half-second penalty as well, so Graphics should be able to get past Surfer at the penalty zone. But that has meant that these three have, these four now obviously broken down to 3. Scott's been able to just keep 4th position at the moment, but his tyres are dying of death. Obviously we've only 2 minutes of racing to go. I think we're going to be this lap and one more for most people. Gary there in 7th under hot pursuit from Brucey. Will Brucey be able to do anything with 2 laps to go? Graphics did get past Surfer. Lucky races over 1.5 second penalty. See a couple of off tracks in that lap, which isn't going to help. Well, to be fair, that's just for the last couple of corners. Another off track there as well to make it a 2 seconds. So it did. Graphics did pick up a penalty for that turn 1 exit. Did wonder he was a bit wide. Surfer going for the apex, keeping it nice and tight, getting the drive out of the corner, but Graphics is coming back at him. And up ahead, Brucey looks like he's going to try and get round the outside of Gary. Will he do so? Yes. Ooh, bit of argy-bargy. Surfer keeps ahead of Graphics behind as well. We'll jump back with Brucey and have a look at this overtake. Had a few go around the outside of this corner this race. Camera angle. So side by side coming out of turn 3. Obviously Brucey's then having the inside line for turn 4. Just been able to get the power down a tiny bit earlier than Gary. That does put Brucey into 7th position. So he's done well to work his way back from 13th on the grid to 7th. Obviously we've still got a lap and a bit to go of the race. Gary giving a little bit of a bump there to Brucey. Probably a little bit of slipstream and carrying a bit more speed than normal. Just having to brake a little bit earlier than your normal braking marker. But I have missed the change for the lead. Sorry about the jumping back. Where did this happen? Miles ago. I completely missed that one. I know what lap we were on. Looking at everyone else's battles going on through the rest of the pack, I completely missed Wiz getting past James. Is it coming into the second to last corner? It looks like it will be. So them softs have worked miracles for Wiz. And obviously there are no team orders there of having to stay behind James to let him claim his victory. Wiz wants both tonight. So that was the overtake from Wiz. Sorry for the skipping. I will get us back to where we were. And I believe where's Brucey going around the outside. So yeah, we were around this part of the race when I had noticed that the change for the lead had happened. So ice there, a little bit dropped off from the back of Scott and Jim. He's probably worrying a bit about fuel. He is flashing with another lap to go, so he's probably just saving a little bit just to make sure he doesn't run out for the end of the race. But Jim's in the same boat as well, same as Scott. And Brownie's got enough fuel to the end. James is flashing, but Wiz has got more than enough fuel to make it to the end. And a very dominant performance from the Genesis boys. They are a good 14-15 seconds ahead of third position so far. So Golden in third at the moment. Scott and Jim are still battling out for fourth position. Will Jim be able to do anything? Coming down to potentially one of the last overtaking points on the circuit. Goes for the dive, but Scott's just able to save. Oh no, Scott goes deep. Jim's been able to make the move up the inside, and Scott's got a half-second penalty, so that's going to be Jim to fourth position. But I will jump back up to our race leader and come around the last corner to claim the second win of the night is Wiz, followed by his teammate James in second. Golden Brownie with a fairly solid performance from 8th to 3rd. And he comes across the line and picks up a half-second penalty, but he seems to be happy with that race result there. Pirate Jim does claim 4th position, and Scott coming out along the line in 5th. Ice, just enough fuel to make it across the line in 6th position. Brucey will be able to pull out from Gary in 7th, Surfer in 8th, Infinity Graphics in 9th. Let me pause this because everyone's coming along the line too quickly. So Graphics in 9th, Gary in 10th, Wacky in 11th, Phil in 12th, Steffi in 13th. So Phil gained 2 positions, and it looks like Mark, no, he hasn't run out of fuel. He just had enough. Comes home in 14th. Right, that's the racing for the evening. If you like the content, obviously please leave a like, and obviously subscribe to the channel, and obviously you'll get notifications of when I go live for the next races. I think the next live I'll be doing is round 4 for the Infinity Series. So thank you very much everyone for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.